And good evening and welcome to Locked in Stitches. One moment while I make sure everything is coming along correctly. Okay, and I can see we've already got Gail Murphy here. Hi Gail, how are you going? I hope everything's great in your part of the world. And I'm just going to make sure that we're fine here on YouTube as well. For all our YouTubers, thank you for joining us. So it's a beautiful Thursday night here, and it's actually warmer at the moment than it has been for most of the week. I'm on 10 degrees at the moment, so it's been quite a beautiful day. But I've got my water next to me and I've got my coffee next to me, and best of all, I've got a great project for you. I've loved doing the laptop bag this week, and I spent most of my morning this morning turning it into a craft project bag. So let me come along and show you what I've got here. And I'll take you through exactly what I've done a little once we've started our stitching. But what I've done is I've come through and I've made a space for the scissors that I think I would take to a class, and they can all be then closed up. Then I've come through and I've done 2 zippered pouches, and I've got all of my threads there as well. So I'm looking forward to showing you in detail everything that I've done there. But what I want to do first is get started on our embroidery. And as I said on Tuesday, tonight I'm going to look at fixing up a stuffed up laptop bag. Now, don't you just hate it when you go to the trouble of making something or doing something, you get near the end and things stuff up? And that's what happened on this case at one of the shows. And you can see there was obviously some tension issues because there's been a great eating up of the design. But I hate the idea of throwing anything away. I could have come through and done an applique design, but instead what I've done is I've found felt that's the same colour. And instead what we're going to do this evening is we are going to embroider our design, and then we are going to stitch it on, and it's going to look like it was always meant to be there. So if we come over to the machine, what you can see, maybe not the machine. There we go. I was worried there for a second. That really did not seem to be happening. Okay, so here I've got my machine, and I'm going to go a little bit quirky today. I'm going to go and use the ISO so I don't stab people design, and I have put the link in the in the notes about the class to show where you can get that design from. And then I've got my fabric here, and I've got wash away thread in my needle. So the first thing that I'm going to do is come through and that wash away thread is going to hold that down for us as we stitch. Okay, take my wash away thread off and put it away because you really don't want to mess that up with something else. And I'm going to thread my machine to begin my stitching. And I do just love this design. I think it's just fun and funky and will make a nice gift. Now I'm also going to show you, for those who didn't see the last class, how I load this project into the hoop. So, how's everybody's week been? We all fit and hale and hearty? Getting used to the Arctic blast? Okay, so that's going to stitch along, all nice and pretty. What I want to do is now show you guys exactly how I come through and set the laptop case for embroidery. So the big feature of this case is the fact that it does open out flat. So all you have to do when you are setting it up for embroidery, and I've got my hoop here, is I come along and I can then lay that on top of that space and baste it down. What you always want to make sure is that you are not stitching the design on this double thick piece of felt. And that's the reason why I didn't take my fabric, stitch it on, and then try and stitch through, because I would be stitching through then 3 pieces of felt, which would just be a little bit too much. Come and have a look. And I can see we've got Kim Hutton with us. Thank you for joining us. And Louise Sillers Grimm, thank you for coming along. I got a great stuff up to show you later too. Oh, I love the sound of the machine stitching though. It's just such a stress-free way of doing something. Okay, so if I come back while that's all stitching beautifully, and I'll show you exactly what I've done. So what I've done is I've taken elastic, pop that there to hold it, and I laid my my scissors out where I thought I wanted to store them, held the elastic over and marked it up with my marking pen. Then it was really simple to come through, and you can barely see where that stitching's come through. I've used the same colour thread in the top as bottom, so that, or same colour as this elastic, so that it's not going to be too thick. And Barbara Evans is there. Hi Barbara, how's life treating you? Then I've come through with 2 pieces of plastic and created the pockets that I wanted. And I mean, these pockets will hold whatever you want. And I've just used a binding around. I have followed that same curve, which has made it a little bit ugly. And what I did do was not center it on this side correctly, but it's perfect for holding those projects that I'm working on. I then went through, and the last thing that I did was come through and take a longer piece of elastic and mark it up to hold my threads. Now you will see on the back there that you can just see those marks, but I'm pretty happy with that. That does not bother me at all. And I think I've got a great project bag for taking along, whether it be to a retreat or to my next class. So that will all go there. My threads then pack up together, and my retreat bag is complete. See how we're doing on this one. Okay, that is stitching nicely. Now, if you're the type of person who ever thinks they're the only person who stuffs something up, let me show you differently. These are 2 bags that I made today. I really had only meant to make 1. This was the one that I meant to make. Really nice pouch that will hold credit cards, business cards, whatever you want to hold in there. So that's the one that I wanted to make. The one that I first made, however, see if you can spot the problem. I'll pop a credit card in here and all will go well. Let me pop one in the other side. Oops. I put it in upside down, and I would have to squeeze the card in that way for that to work. There you go. Ergo, I had to make a second. So, this is the second in our You Do You series. And the You Do You pouches are a set of pouches, all the different sizes, both vertical and horizontal, are included. And what I'm doing is each weekend I'm going to show you a different way of making a pouch. So I made the credit card slots just with my sewing machine. I'm going to show you exactly how I did that. And I've got a great pouch then for store cards or anything like that. Thank you very much, Jeanette. That is Dragonfly embroidery patchwork fabric that I had a little bit left over of. Thankfully enough that I got 2 pouches out of it. I have felt so good this week. I've managed to cook dinner every night. In my world, these are pretty amazing things. After feeling not great for so long, I've done some cleaning. It's just been amazing. Okay. Now, this is just me being a compulsive pain in the neck. But my fingers finally healed from putting the needle through, so now I stop the machine. Don't worry, it's an out-of-date bank card number, and it's my daughter's. I realise it's my daughter's should not be the first thing. Yes, no, totally out of date, not current, etc., etc. But Kat, fantastic point. So, sorry, I just got a terrible message from a fellow stitcher that they've been diagnosed with cancer. I'm so terribly sorry. So this is what my last week's project was. I think I showed you at different points as I was going through that. But loving how it turned out. And the pattern is from the Quilted Rose. And we're looking at working together with me supplying the digital pattern. But I then came along and our first You Do You zip pouch conversion was this gorgeous pouch, and it's exactly the same as every other pouch in the collection, except for the fact that we've come through and I've shown you how to applique on a pretty piece of fabric, and we've done that gorgeous ruffle. Other than that, it is exactly the same, and what a difference that makes. So you can see what type of things we're doing. With the same pattern, those two pouches have been created. Barbara, that is a fantastic question, saying what day and time on the weekend. I will post it up. At the moment, I don't have it, mainly because I need to see how much I get done tomorrow. Otherwise, I have to be out first thing in the morning doing, otherwise I have to be out first thing Saturday morning doing the grocery shop. Tentatively, between 10 and 11 on Saturday morning. But it will always be there for looking at as well. Okay. And this lettering is stitching really nicely. The only thing would be where that little floopy bit got caught. Okay, so now we're going to do our needle. And how's everybody been reacting with the cold weather this week? Has everybody else been hit by it as well? When I got up to take Edward to work yesterday, because we're still working on one car for another week, It was -4 degrees. I do love this one, just the saying on it. Yeah, I stitch so I don't kill people. Started a new collection this week, getting ready for Christmas. Because today is the 25th, which means 4 months exactly till Christmas. Okay, so that's our needle done. And then I'm choosing a really pretty green tealy sort of a colour. Watch Julie as she stabs herself through the finger while stitching something about stabbing. So I think these laptop bags are just perfect for personalisation. I've done one for hubby that he then takes to work. I'm going to put a bit of thread serum on this in a minute. Don't know whether I haven't quite cut that firm enough or what. Generally speaking, a little bit of the thread serum solves a whole lot of problems in my life. Just Shank's watching. Thank you very much for joining us, darling. I hope you are having a wonderful week. And Tony Jones is watching from Florida. Good morning. I hope you enjoyed what we're stitching. And in much better weather. So is anybody doing anything exciting for the weekend? Hubby and I are trying to find sort of different ways that we can spend that bit of time together. So we thought if the weather holds out for Sunday, and I'm not sure if it's going to at the moment. Yeah, it might only be overcast. We'll think of going and taking a walk around the Lake Burley Griffin. Oh, birthday lunch with the family. Dashanka, I watch what your birthday celebrations are, and I think I need to be adopted by your family. I'll be down in December, actually. Right after my birthday, I'll be down for the Billy Joel concert. Yeah, you guys look like you have lovely birthday celebrations. So my stitching is on about 500, which is just generally what I do, even when I'm not using felt. I'm a slow and steady kind of a stitcher, but it is also, you really don't want to go any quicker when you're using a thick fabric. My birthday is the 4th of December, and it's a big one this year. I am turning 50 this year. Which is a pretty major one. 50 in December, 20 years married in January. So in March, where actually hubby and I started planning on the weekend, we're going to go and take a, we're going to get the girls settled in year 12, Cameron settled in at TAFE, and then we're going to go and get hire a camper van for a month and use up some of his long service leave travelling up north, up the north coast of Australia. So I've got one commitment that I need to factor in for, but I don't know about you guys, but this is the rest of my year. I've got it all sort of done out on what my commitments are, so that I can see everything all at once. And I don't quite want to get to the point that I'm looking at next year yet. It's a little bit wibbly wonk. The other one that I'll give you a little sneak peek at the onion machine suddenly sounds louder than it did a second ago. And you think, why? These are my first two test stitch outs, much smaller than the hipsters, but we are going to do something very special with these guys. So keep watching. We are going to light up your life, or your Christmas anyway. I couldn't believe this afternoon. I sat down and I was doing a grocery list for the shopping tomorrow. And I went into the pantry to move some stuff around and to see if I had something. So, you know, sort of hunched and bending over looking for something for about 3 minutes. Not a long time. When I stood up, my back seized. Oh! I quickly got Grace to hand me some ibuprofen. Emma made me a hot water bottle, and not good. And if that's not proof that, you know, housework and you know, family planning and stuff like that, you know, household planning are not good for you, then I don't know what is. And good evening, Selena. I hope you're doing well in lovely Queensland. Couldn't decide whether to go for a purple or the green here. I'm glad I went the green. I think it's coming up quite nicely. Oh, Barbara, I'm glad you've been there too. Well, no, I'm not glad you've been there too. Yeah, I've been feeling so good, been getting so much done, and then, oh God, it worried me. But after the hot water bottle for, you know, for an hour or so on the ibuprofen, I seem to be moving quite well again. Selena, I'm very sorry for your loss. That is not good at all, but a 15-year-old poodle, that's amazing. That you've had her for that long, so that's got to be a positive there. Oh, that's great, Selena. I'm glad you can see the positives. Now, whilst this is finishing up, I'm going to make sure I've got my black bobbin and my black sewing thread. My sister and I generally catch up each week on what's happening in each other's lives, etc. And she calls me on the way home from work, so quite often she's letting off steam. And she's so frustrated this week. She's currently the head teacher of her department, and she's moving into a role where she's the head of all teachers for the school. And she's quite perturbed. She's the only teacher at the school who hasn't yet had COVID. And she's just sitting there. I just want a week at home. I'm going home to take a test. Surely, I've been with these people all week. Like, surely I've got to have it as well. She's just that person who does not, or who can't, is immune to COVID. Okay, Heather Elrich, I can see your question. Where do I get the bags from? So we are selling the bags, and I'll pop a link up to them. So I've only got them in one size. What you can do, is, and the size of the bag is on there, so it's 39 centimetres by 27 centimetres. There are different bags on places like eBay. When you're looking for the embroidery part, make sure it opens out and yeah, fits your device. I know I had one person who had an 18-inch laptop, and yeah, in the end I recommended they go and find something on eBay. And if you search for felt laptop bags, you will find some there. I think pricing wise we're quite competitive, if not just damn cheaper. I can remember when I bought my embroidery machine back in 2001, when I bought my first machine. The place that I bought it for had all these samples that had been stitched out, and they were stitched out on felt, but like the acrylic felt that we're used to seeing, not the heavy duty felt here. And I always thought that was beautiful until somebody explained to me, yeah, the reason they did that is because the felt doesn't move. So felt is brilliant for a lot of embroidery. And felt's great if you want to test out the stitches in your machine. Felt is perfect for that. But yeah, there are a couple digitizers around there, so be careful if everything is stitched on felt. Because it can be used as a way to avoid showing imperfections. Now, next week, while we're stitching, it is going to be trivets and tea towels. Now, I'll just come through because I have had a couple of people asking me. These are the cords that I currently have in my house. This comes from Bunnings. It is 4mm. I think it cost about $9 or $10. And this gave me quite a thin, delicate trivet. This is the one that I've used on the samples that you can see. This one came from Spotlight. It is a 6mm, and you can embroider just as well on this. So either way is fine. Please feel free to use up what you've got, but I love, and I think these are just so much, nice is not the word I want to use, but they're just so different to the traditional flower design on a tea towel. What I'm going to show you is how I've done this little leather or leather cork vinyl closure, just to finish off the trivet and leave it being able to be hung. So we're going to make the trivet and then embroider both the tea towel and the trivet itself. Okay, nearly finished. So that is my embroidery done. And now what I'm going to do, apart from make a horrible noise, is change my machine over. To sewing. And sewing plate, or my sewing presser foot, put black in the bobbin and black in the thread. Okay, now I'm going to come through and take that out of the hoop and move the hoop aside. I'm not going to bother undoing the wash away stitches at the moment. Two reasons. First one is that I may end up wanting them for some alignment. As we put this together, we will just see. So I'm really just leaving my options open. Okay, so I'm just taking off the main part. And from there, I can come through and I want to mark the center point of my felt here. And then I'm going to need to mark the center point along here as well, because that is where we need to line those up. Okay, now that I've got that lined up, I can come back to the sewing machine and now I want to do this so that you guys can see. This stitch along here is actually quite a large stitch. So I'm going to come through and make my stitch a larger stitch as well. And then I'm going to take my glasses off to do this. I haven't returned my carriage to the stored position. It's always got to be one little thing that you miss, isn't there? You want to make sure you're not actually stitching through your zipper at any point, but instead turning the bag around And let me tell you, black on black at night is not the easiest thing that I have ever done. And twist the bag in so that I can get in there. I'll show you what I mean by twisting the bag. Okay, back over to our workbench. And grab my scissors from where I stored them in this compartment. And then all I'm going to do is trim that felt. To match there. And trim to match there. And what I'm left with is a saved laptop bag. You could put a row of rickrack there, you could leave it as is, doesn't bother me in the least. What I might do is put a piece of plain fabric or a pocket even over the back just to cover up that ugly, but I think that is a fair way of saving our laptop bag. Okay, what do we think of that? Let me just check to make sure that all is good. So you can see that I've done that one this evening, and I will get rid of those threads and take a photo and show you what they all look like. Don't forget, if you have time on the weekend, do check out our little credit card slot bag and how to do it. And you can also catch up, if you wish, with the beautiful fluted and appliqued on design as well. Okay, so that is us done for this evening, unless anybody has any questions. Thank you so much, everybody, for your lovely comments. And until next week, have a great time. Bye.